All right, well, I've got all 6 of these. If you're praying, folks, you can go ahead and start praying for my liver right now. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ryan. I'm so excited to taste whiskey, and I don't know what it is. Okay, I've got 6 pours here that have been selected and sent in from our wonderful Patreon members. So super grateful for them and their generosity. But this is apparently a full distillery review that I'm about to do, but totally blind. You will also hear my wife in the background. She's gaming, and, just right over here. So a little bit of extra audio, if you don't mind. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get these poured. They are labeled, mystery 1 through 6. And I have never seen what these are, but I do have a link to a folder that has like the key to what these are. I assume, Greg, you can see that it hasn't been clicked on, hasn't been opened since you shared that folder, but I have not looked at it yet, obviously. Let me pour these real quick. Say, okay, correct. Okay, so you can see clearly that I've never opened up that folder. That's good. No cheating here. There really wouldn't be anything for me to gain anyways by looking, to be fair, because according to you guys, this is not a distillery I have ever covered on the channel. So it's not like I would be able to open that up and then be like, oh, okay, so I need to make sure I say the right things here. Because I've never had it before. There's no right answer. I just poured 5 into 2 Glens. Because I was talking, and I should never talk and do something at the same time because I'm a horrible multitasker. So 5's an extra deep pour. Boom. All of them are poured. Let's start with glass A. Okay, so full distillery review. Never had any of these before. All right, well, I'm nosing here on glass A. And I'm assuming you have these in a specific order. I'm assuming if you're doing a full distillery review, it's probably like core lineup stuff and then like more private release or some of the higher shelf offerings, stuff like that later down the line. I'm assuming, but we will see. I'm getting a really nice like a strawberry dum-dum, like a strawberry sucker on the nose of this, and a really light oak. Nothing too overbearing there. Nice little light oak, a little bit of cinnamon and vanilla, but I really like that gentle strawberry note that I'm getting on the nose of this. Other than that, it's not crazy complex, but I would guess on the nose that this is likely a bourbon. Dum-Dums haven't had one of those in years. Well, when you have kids, you have Dum-Dums plenty, because like everywhere you go get the kids' haircuts, and they're like, here's Dum-Dums, take them home. You go to the bank, and the kids in the car, they're like, here's Dum-Dums, take them with you. All right, well, I'm going to go in on this. I really like that strawberry note. I don't know that I'm getting that strawberry note on the palate, though. No, it's more like, I think of roasted nuts, like slightly like cooked nuts. You know what I mean? They get a little bit brown on the edges. That kind of reminds me of a Reese's peanut butter cup in some ways. Yeah, it's like the first half of the sip is kind of typical bourbon notes to me, but they fly right past your palate, and then they quickly get followed up by something that's a little bit craftier almost. Yeah, that roasted nuts note, real heavy on the mid palate, and late into the finish, it extends into the finish there. Yeah, it's kind of soft. I don't know what the proof on this is, but I would guess like maybe somewhere in the 95 department. Yeah, fairly crafty. I wish that strawberry note was present on the palate like it was in the nose. It kind of got replaced with that roasted nuts note that came later in the palate. But all in all, it's not a bad pour. Move on here to glass 2, B rather. Oh, I'm gonna take notes before I forget. I'm a furious note taker. All right. Glass B. Dude, what is with these being so fruity on the nose? And it's like that same strawberry. I'm getting blasted with strawberry on the nose of B. Yeah, I get like those, I love those candies. They're like white on the bottom and pink on the top, and they're kind of dome shaped, and they're chewies, like gummies. You get them at the gas station or like old school candy shops. I've referenced those before on the channel. But this is like those strawberry and cream puffs, or whatever you call them, on the nose. All right, well, let's get in here. Cheers. Oh, that's way sweeter. Okay, this one kept that strawberry note on the palate. This is like the very first thing I get hit with is this confectionery sweetness, like powdered sugar or like strawberry shortcake, right? I don't think this is, if it is proofier, it can't be much proofier than the first one. It might even be a little less proof. It's very soft in the oak department. Like, you're not getting a lot of like heavy char notes or anything like that. I'm specifically getting a ton of confectionery sweetness right up front. The second half of the palate does start to sort of wander into more traditional bourbony notes of your vanillas and your caramels and your toffees. But that finish is just, it's kind of like cinnamon baked bread, right? Just kind of sits there. Cinnamon baked bread note. I like that. I think that was pretty light, but I like it considerably more than the first one, I think. Glass C. This one's not like the others on the nose. I'm going to give you a note on the nose here. Barley wine. Give me a barley wine kind of a note. You almost get a little bit of that like vinegary kind of thing on the nose. Not in a bad way at all, right? Not like pungent. A little bit of that like almost like red wine vinegar kind of a note going on. Yeah, this one's got a little bit more of that. If you've ever had I don't know if any of you guys are into beers. One of my favorite kinds of beers are framboise, which are, it's a kind of beer called a lambic, where they allow wild yeast to find and ferment their beer, right? So it's a wild yeast thing. I love framboise because they're like, usually when you do that, you need a fruit to sort of attract wild yeast to the beer. So you use framboise, they use raspberries. Creeks use cherries, right? Stuff like that. But they tend to have this sort of like a sour beer note, like really fruity and sour. And I'm a sucker for that flavor. Like cherry sours are my favorite candies on the planet. I love sour, fruity notes in general. And the nose of this is reminding me of that same kind of a note, right? All right, I'm gonna try it. Cheers. Ooh. Huh. I like that. Not very bourbony. It could be like got me wanting Rubaeus now. I love a good Rubaeus. Without being biased though, because Founders is 15 minutes from my house. So it carries over some of that red wine vinegar kind of a note. The fruitiness comes late in the palate and into the finish. It's not super fruity up front. I know that like in the edited videos on YouTube, it looks like you're just popping off notes like, oh, gives me this, gives me that, gives me this. But a lot of times I'm sitting here and I'm just sitting with it. And there's like 2 to 3 minutes of downtime sometimes where I'm just mulling it over. Because I'm going through like a checklist in my brain like, it's sweet, okay, but is it fruity sweet? Is it candy sweet? Is it confectionery sweet? Or is it more like caramel sweet? You know what I mean? It's just to go down the branches, you know what I mean, of tasting notes in my brain. It kind of gives me like saltwater taffy vibes. That kind of a sweetness. Yeah, I don't know what I think this is proofier than the other two. Maybe not by a ton, but it does feel like we've elevated a little bit of the proof. It's got a little bit of like a minty pepperiness too. Not the sides of your cheeks, but like down in the pits down here, you know what I mean? You know, those little pits in your cheeks? That's where I get like that mintiness, a little bit of peppery mintiness. That's a really interesting pour. Let me write down some of my notes though. Okay. Well, I can say that color-wise, I think D, glass 4, is a little bit darker in color than the previous ones. I think 2 would be my favorite so far, but 3 definitely stood out too. I liked 3 quite a bit. What I do get on the nose of this, it reminds me of, my son just started baseball last year, which was a lot of fun, but I was quickly reminded how adding one extra curricular, like one sport to your routine, can be very demanding from week to week. I was like, oh, well, yeah, we'll enroll him in baseball. It'll be fun. And then, I'm in the backyard doing batting, throwing, and catching practice with him like 4 nights a week. We've got practices. We've got games 3 nights a week. So it's like, holy cow, we're like slammed just by picking up one extra thing to do. Some of you parents out there are probably familiar with that same song and dance. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, all this. Let's bring it all back around. Baseball, Big League Chew. That's what this reminds me of on the nose. Big League Chew. You rip open the top of the bag, and there's that powder, or white powder covered bubblegum strips, and the odor slams into your face, just like burying your face in it. You know what I'm saying? Heck yeah. But this on the nose is super bubblegummy. But it's not just any bubblegum. It's the good stuff that's covered in that white powder. But let's try it. Cheers. Ooh. 3 things that immediately stand out to me. Obviously, we've got a little extra proof here. But I love that bubblegum sweetness right up front. For sure, we get that. But then I get a big old wave of some good charred oak, followed by what I come to associate with like a lot of cigar batches, where you get like the cognac or the Armagnac finishes, stuff like that. So big bubblegum sweetness right up front. Then you get this nice wave of oak, and you come down off the back side of that wave, and you come crashing down into those like funky distilled wine notes, right? Second sip, that oak wave isn't a tidal wave, it's more like a medium-sized wave. Kind of tames down a little bit. That one in glass 2, B and D so far are sort of like standouts thus far. Okay, this is glass E, the big pour, not on purpose. This reminds me a lot of some Elijah Craig barrel proof. If I were just having this out of the blue and you said, what do you think that is? I might say, that might be like an A batch, like A124 or something of Elijah Craig. Because I get a little bit of that leather and wood shop, which I tend to get pretty frequently on the Elijah Craig barrel proofs. Leather and wood shop. But the more I nose this, the more I get almost like a raisin or a prune, something like that, you know? Like a dehydrated red fruit. And I like that quite a bit. It's actually really sweet on the nose, but it's not like it's not a bright confectionery sweetness or like raw sugar cane kind of a sweetness. It's more like nougat and caramel. I can say the nose of this one's beautiful. I dig it. Let's just get in on it. Cheers. That palate's kind of different. Yeah, it's much more I get some of those herbal and vegetal notes. This gives me like tea and spice shop notes, like walking into a tea and spice shop. But man, I don't get that at all on the nose. It's almost like you're getting the aromatics on the palate. Isn't that strange? But I will say that nougat note we were getting on the nose is consistent. And I do like that. I love a good Milky Way or Three Musketeers. I like that nougat. Are the birds coming through the mic? I don't know why they're still singing this late. Okay. Glass F. Why does this immediately smell like cookies and cream ice cream? This smells like walking into an ice cream parlor, and you know that like you get hit with that wave as soon as you walk in of sweet cream. This literally smells like sweet cream and Oreos. Why does it smell that good? I don't know. And that strawberry note we got in the first two. This I'm nosing this and I'm thinking, why does it smell like a strawberry Pop-Tart now too? It smells like cookies and cream ice cream and a strawberry Pop-Tart. Some good soft oak in there. Not like your heavy char or even like a heavy toast either, but just some delicate oak. But otherwise, very desserty. I like the nose of that. Well, let's get in on it. Cheers. You know, I said strawberry Pop-Tart on the nose. The palate makes me think of those like cream cheese Danishes. Those like flaky pastry dough, a little bit of cream cheese, a little bit of fruit filling. That's the first thing that came to mind. There's also this like funky nutty note. A little funky nutty note. Almost like, have you ever had banquette? You get the pastry dough, but then on the inside is filled with like almond butter, sweet almond butter. Or an almond paste, not almond butter. Almond paste. Reminds me a lot of banquette. Sweet almond. Or think like an amaretto liqueur. Something like that. What's the Di Serono. Let me just take one quick sip from all these real quick just to sort of re-solidify them in my brain before we do the reveal. Yeah? Whoa. A's way nuttier now that my palate's acclimated. Way nuttier than I remember. Oh, I said roasted nuts. Never mind. Then I stick to my guns. That's why I take notes. Let me do some rankings here. Should I rank them from my favorite to least favorite before I do the reveal? You ready? Last place in sixth place, not because it's bad, just because I like the others more, right? Nothing here is bad. But last place, sixth place is going to go to glass 1. Glass A. Glass A is going to take 6th place. In 5th place, we're going to hop on over to glass C, which was the barley wine, red wine vinegar. I liked it a little bit more than that one. In 4th place, next up, is going to be glass E. Glass E. This was tea and spice, leather, wood shop, nougat. I actually like that one quite a bit. It kind of hurt me a little bit to put it in 4th. 3rd place, we're going to come back over to glass B, which was much softer. I think this one's like really crushable, right? This one's probably less expensive, I would imagine, than the one I just ranked it above. but it's crushable. And sometimes I'm in the mood for something that just tastes really good and you don't feel guilty about drinking it. You know what I'm saying? That's going to bring us to second place is going to be the Ice Cream Parlor. Ice Cream Parlor, Glass F, the last one. Cookies and cream, strawberry cream cheese Danish, almond paste. Which means my first place and my favorite is going to be Glass D. This was our Big League Chew. But 1 and 2 were real tight. So let's start sixth place. Bottle 1. We doing a hard truth thing here, huh? Doing a hard truth. So this was Hard Truth Sweet Mash 4-grain bourbon, bottled in bond. Those roasted nuts are right there. You said 95, good call. Oh, that's right. I did, didn't I? Oh, feel free to like give callbacks in the chat. Be like, you said this, by the way. So if I missed stuff, let me know. So bottle 3 was 5th place. This was the Sweet Mash Rye. So this was our barley wine, red wine vinegar, that one. 4th place we gave to Glass E, or 5 rather. This one is the Barrel Finish Reserve Sweet Mash Rye. Finished in new charred oak barrels. This is the one we said we got nougat, leather wood shop, tea and spice. I mean, I stand by that. I think that your teas and spice notes are really pronounced in that expression. 3rd place was Glass B, bottle 2, and that was a Sweet Mash Bourbon. Hard Truth Sweet Mash Bourbon. That takes 3rd place. I told you guys, I thought this one was like, I said, this one's crushable. And probably cheaper than some of the ones that I had it beat, right? And I think that's accurate. This one is really crushable. Which means 2nd place was Glass F, bottle 6. What are you? Hard Truth, Master Distiller's Reserve Sweet Mash Rye, batch 1. Batch size was only 8 barrels. Caramel malt. Uncut, unfiltered, straight rye whiskey at barrel strength. 117.4 proof. I mean, that's dynamite. It is, it's dynamite. Which brings us to 1st place. Big League Chew, baby. Glass D, or 4. What are you? Watch this be a store. It is. I was going to watch this be a store pick. American Spirit's double platinum winner. Hard Truth, Sweet Mash Rye, Straight Rye Whiskey, Kroger, exclusive for Kroger. So this is like a pick. Barrel strength, uncut, unfiltered Sweet Mash Rye took 1st place. I can't believe a rye won. Unbelievable. Who would have predicted such a thing? So this was Glass 4, right, D? Heck yeah, I like that. Okay. That was dynamite. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate that. It's almost like we know your preferences. Big shout out to my Patreon members for setting this up, especially Greg. Really appreciate your generosity and all the effort that went into this. The way you packaged it, everything up too, like big box, everything individually wrapped with like foam barriers and stuff. Top notch. Top marks, Greg. Appreciate it. But that's Hard Truth. I think the only thing I've covered one bottle of theirs on the channel, and it was like a year and a half ago. And it wasn't any of these ones. I think it was the taller, skinnier bottle. Was it just like I think it was like a bottled and bond rye. It's like a mixer rye. And I actually really liked it. So fun to hit their main lineup. And I really appreciate you supplying all these for me, guys. But that's Hard Truth. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. I know that around here, they're on shelves everywhere. Like I go to Meijer and there's like 3 to 4 different Hard Truth bottles available. So, and to be fair, just the Sweet Mash Bourbon, what took 3rd place? Is that right? Yeah, 3rd place today. Crushable. Pick it up, try it, see if you like it. You got nothing to lose there other than what is that, like a $40 bottle, something like that? I don't want to get it wrong. Let me fact check with chat real quick. Mikey says yeah. Mikey knows everything. So if he says yeah, that's what it is. Hey, if you want to get to know some cool people like the people that set this up, check out our Discord. The link is in the description. Totally free to join. Introduce yourself. Say hello. We'd love to get to know you. If you want to get involved in some of the stuff that we do, like this was a private stream. I edited it down for you guys. But if you want to get the full uncut thing, which was an hour long, this is the kind of stuff we do. So you can join the Patreon group for as little as $1, which is basically free. Pretty cool. Anyways, with that I say cheers, my friends. Let me get my winner, Glass 4. There's like does it. With that, I say cheers, my friends. That was a good clank. Wasn't that good? That was a good one. May you live richly and get better with age. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.